Hi, I'm Mark Mazzaferro, and it's time for another episode of What's the Plan? And with us, as always, on What's the Plan is our Community Development Director, Barton Brierley. Barton, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. We have a list of several things here to talk about today.
Yeah, lots happening.
They're all, like ripped from today's headlines. It's stuff that's on the front burner for your department and for the city council and for our community, isn't it?
Yes, a lot of people are very interested in it. We get a lot of input, and people are excited about these different projects.
So we'll jump right in with a subject that certainly one particular neighborhood is very concerned with, and that's Green Tree.
Yes.
And one thing about Green Tree, it's located over in Leisure Town in that area, and I'm just curious to know if have we heard from anybody in Southtown or North Village or any of the other parts of town about Green Tree, or?
A little bit, but not much. You remember the golf course was right in people's backyards, and so the project there, it's literally in people's backyards, and there's a lot of people who are very interested that they were overlooking a golf course, and now it's a vacant site, and so it just touches a lot of people.
So what's going on? Where are we at? We had a plan, it got pulled back, we have a new plan. Tell us where we're at with the Green Tree project.
Yeah. So, kind of the big picture is it was a private golf course. It was privately owned, and it wasn't making money, and so they closed down the golf course. And now the property owner, Sire family, is proposing a development on the property, and they're getting together a plan on it and getting ready to propose that and go through the regular process.
So, and again, it came up, was it 2 council meetings ago?
Yes.
And there were a lot of people there, very passionate, and I'll be honest with you, I couldn't get a read one way or another. Clearly, some Leisure Town folks are against anything. Other folks are okay with certain things, and yet what was presented and what I've seen looks like it's pretty nice. It's not like they're going to build slums, the projects look okay. There's a park, there's some amenities, right?
Yeah, and so the latest draft, the concept is it's a big property, so if you start at the north side near Gilly Way, the proposal is for a shopping center there, potentially like a grocery store at Gilly Way, some apartments just north of that, and then coming south, there's some different kinds of housing, maybe some townhomes and some small lot single family, and then a park there, and then south of Sequoia, a more single family residential subdivision, a small park in that area, and trails throughout and through the project.
Now, I've heard a couple people hint around, well, maybe it'd be nice, since we can't have an 18-hole course, how about a 9-hole golf course? And again, I'm no planner, I'm no economist, but if an 18-hole course isn't going to make it, I'm not sure why a 9-hole course would do any better. I mean, are they even considering that as part of the plan?
Well, the property owners are not. They've said that they do not want to do a golf course. And, I'm a golfer. I love to golf at Green Tree. I played there a lot, and I enjoyed it. But the fact was they were losing money. The number of rounds was going down, and they were losing money, and so there's really no reason to think that somebody else stepped in to run a golf course that they wouldn't be losing money also.
All right, so how's the council, let's take the council's temperature on this. How are they feeling about it?
The clear message from the council is they want the community involved. They want the neighbors involved. They want to take everything that they're saying seriously. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a series of public meetings. We've already had meetings with various neighborhood groups to talk about various issues. So we have a good idea of what a lot of those concerns are. But we are going to have an open house in April. It'll be advertised. Get people in there and have them talk about issues. So like the commercial area. What's your ideas there? What do you want to see in the commercial area? There's a park plan. Are there good things, bad things? What do you want there? Trails. What do you want to see? Trail setbacks. All those housing types. So
Right.
there's a lot of things to consider, and really a lot of opportunities for neighbors to have input and to affect the final product.
And this is a little more complicated than your typical housing development.
Right.
You know, I mean, in terms of, I bought so many acres and I brought in my plans and I'm going to put X number of houses and off we go, right?
Right.
So how complicated, or how, you know, they presented a plan, we had lots of meetings, they presented a plan, we had more meetings, and then the whole plan changes. How does that complicate things, both for you and for the developer?
Well, it is a challenging site. Like you said, it's not a square, flat 40-acre farm, with nobody around.
Right.
It was a former golf course, so you got fairways that are long and skinny. They're all backing up against people's houses, and you had ponds there. So you got to deal with drainage and how this new one drains. You've got existing neighborhoods, how you connect roads to there. So it's very complex, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for the developers to design, tweak things, for the neighbors to have input on that and affect the final design.
Now, because of the complexity of the project, I would imagine that the process is going to be complex too.
Yes, it is. So the basic process is, we're still at, they need to get to a plan that they're going to submit. And then there's an environmental impact review, kind of the highest review that you do of a project, because you have to look at, not just things like traffic, but air quality and what kind of wildlife is out there, drainage and utilities, all those sorts of things. So there will be an environmental impact report. And then there's the regular review of a development where you've got to, figure out lot sizes and lot patterns and street patterns and housing types and zoning and development standards.
Sure.
And then there'll be, eventually get to the regular, planning commission and city council hearings. We're still a long ways from that, because probably the next step is to do what's called the notice of preparation of the environmental document, which is a big thing to say, hey, tell us what you want us to study. So if there's some particular issue that you think we should study, when we do this environmental impact report, that's what we'll be going out to the public and say. Also, in that environmental impact report, you have to look at alternatives. And so that's something that we have to build into, and hey, what are some different configurations or things that
Alternatives in terms of how lots are laid out, where parks go, where paths go, that kind of thing, or answering the issue of the impacts of the project on the property?
What you have to do is do what's called a reasonable range of alternatives. You don't have to study everything possible, but usually what you do is, there's the project as proposed, and you usually do something that's, maybe less intense, and then something that's more intense, and you have to always do the no-build option, and then you compare those alternatives. And
Well, it's like the general plan, right? When we did the general plan, right, there were 3 or 4 options the council considered, and one of them was don't do anything, right? Don't add any more housing, or add lots and lots of housing.
Yes.
And they landed somewhere in the middle, right?
yeah, and they actually selected one of the lesser intense alternatives at the end than was originally proposed. So.
Well, I guess there's a lot more to come on Green Tree. We're not.
Yes.
I mean, you said it yourself. They haven't even submitted a plan yet, right? So there's going to be many opportunities for folks to weigh in on what's happening out there.
Yes.
And again, I'd be curious to see if the rest of the city has, any comments to make at all, or if they even care. It's not in their backyard, right? So, on the one hand, it's like, why would they care? On the other hand, well, it's part of the city. You should probably care at some level.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the goals, is this project should be something that is good for the overall city. And if they can propose something that benefits the city in some way, then it should go for it.
Then, yeah, sure. Okay, great. So lots more to come on our our green tree project.
Yes.
Let's talk about another popular project, Lagoon Valley.
Yes.
They're getting ready to start doing some work down there. You're going to see something happening down there. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so the Lagoon Valley project, so there is private land that's south of Lagoon Valley Park, and I just can't emphasize that enough. There's private land that is south of Lagoon Valley Park, and for years there's been a development project approved there. It just hasn't been built, and the developers are now looking at doing some of the preliminary utility work to serve that area. Think about, it's mainly sewer and water, because you got to get sewer clear from, clear to the city. You got to go, over the hill. It's a complicated project. So they'll actually be installing a sewer line that'll go from the private land south of Lagoon Valley Park. It'll actually go through the park and then, to sewer lines on the north side of the hills. And there's going to be a water reservoir to serve the area too, and so they got to do water lines to serve that water reservoir. So it's some of that utility work that's
and there'll be impacts on the public side of the park while this is going on. But once they're done, they'll patch up what they've done. They're adding a public restroom. There's going to be some improvements to the park actually.
Yes. At
the end of the day. So, yeah, it's going to be inconvenient, and we're working with all the folks who are impacted, but this kind of has to happen for this project to go ahead, right?
Right. I walk down the road in Lagoon Valley Park, and it's all broken up, and that's one of the improvements. It'll be repaved, and there'll be another restroom there, which will be very popular. So
yeah, there's some signage posted down in the park, and we have a page on our website that kind of outlines the steps that are going to be taken. There's a timeline, a map. So if people want to get more information, they can go to our website and get it there. So and again, more to come on that too. So now this is kind of and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but this is kind of a fun project for your department, isn't it? The
yes.
Downtown, I want to make sure I get this right. Downtown Specific Plan and Downtown Streetscape and Connectivity Plan.
Yes, great.
Thank you very much. That's something we're kicking off. We've started this, haven't we?
Yes, we have. In fact, just before I was talking with consultants, and we're planning out the public involvement process and laying some of the foundation and getting some of the basic information together for that. So basically what the plan is a way to improve downtown. How do we get more businesses there? How do we make it more comfortable, make it an attractive place? I mean, if you go downtown, they've done a marvelous job. I mean, like the creek walk and the flagpoles and all that, and it's the square and all that was a lot of planning and vision from the downtown, and we want to continue that tradition. And the East Main District project on the east side of downtown is going to be housing and shops, and there's other opportunities for development in downtown, filling in some of the sites, opportunities for business, opportunities for housing, more downtown.
Well, we hear this a lot. Why do you spend so much time working on downtown projects? There's all kinds of other parts of the city that need work too. Well, we're working on them too, but
oh yes, definitely.
But your downtown is like that's the centerpiece of your community.
Yeah, definitely. If you think about any town, what do you think of? You think of the downtown. What's on the website? It's a picture of the downtown. What's on the tourist brochures? It's downtown, and it's our living room. That's one thing we think about. It's places for us to go. If you want to go hear music, where are you going to go? Downtown. If you want to go, get something to eat, downtown's a great spot to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's bakeries, there's restaurants, there's entertainment venues, the DeVille, the Fuso. I mean, the list goes on, right?
Right.
But still, there are a lot of people who don't go downtown for any number of reasons, and I'm sure safety is one of the things. Is that addressed in this?
Absolutely. We know that safety is an important part of the plan, and part of the downtown specific plan will be doing a safety plan, and we're already started with that. I know the police department is doing a program with the businesses to identify ways that they can be safe. They're very attentive to how to do patrols. There are things on the private property owners' side that they can do, just with the lighting, with security in their buildings. And so, yeah, a safety plan will be part of it, because we want downtown to be safe where people are comfortable going.
Yeah, speaking of lighting, we did a blade sign program. Part of the goal of that was to improve the lighting downtown on the sidewalk, both for the businesses and passageways too. So.
Yes.
So how long will these two plans take to execute?
It'll be a couple years to get them done. We're starting now. There'll be a lot of public events. Probably starting in May, you'll start hearing advertisements for public events. We're going to do a charrette, which is like an intense project to really start drafting ideas and things like that. And overall, about 18 months, we should have a final draft and then go through the adoption process of that.
And once this plan is adopted, then what happens?
Well, part of the plan is how do you implement it?
Okay.
So
the plan has an implementation plan on top of it. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So
now what do we do, right?
Right. And part of the idea is, okay, what do we want, and then how do we pay for it?
Yeah.
And then the question is, are we willing to do those things to pay for it? And I don't doubt that there'll be a bigger wish list than we'll be able to fund, but I think there'll be a lot of things that we can do with some creative things. So that's really it. Unless you know where you're going, you can't get there. And so this is identifying where we want to go and how to get there.
Good deal. Well, those are three biggies.
Yes.
3 big projects on top of all the other stuff going on down there.
Oh yeah, we're very busy.
So what else is happening, Barton, that you can share with us? Any little projects or developments we should know about?
Another big project we'll talk about in other shows, the Development Code update. That's a huge project we're working on. And lots of
little of this, little of that,
I know we looked at like 3 new gas stations today in our project review committee. They seem to be popular. A couple of car washes, so.
I know people are very excited about the Quick Quack car wash.
Yeah, 2 of them.
We're having 2 of them?
We have 2.
Where's the other? I know there's one over on Orange Drive, or is it Leisure Town?
Yeah, Leisure Town, and there's down on Davis Street near Winco.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, good. Well, we'll have a lot of clean cars. And the good news is, and they probably use recycled water, but the drought's over, so.
Oh yeah, well, it's been a very rainy.
Listen, I saw an official statement on social media that said the drought is over, and if it's on social media,
it must be true.
It's true, absolutely.
Yes, and Elvis is back. So
no, Elvis is still with the aliens. Come on, everybody knows that. All right, well, listen, Barton, thank you very much for getting us up to date on these big projects, and I'm sure we'll talk about these in the future on future shows. And thank you all for watching this episode of What's the Plan? We'll see you next time.